Oh, baby, do we got ourselves a trade to break down. What if I told you David Stearns just landed the Mets' new interim, at minimum, setup man for quite literally a nothing burger of a return? Let's enter and talk about this fleece job of a trade the Mets just made with the Seattle Mariners acquiring flame-throwing right-hander, a man that I wanted plenty this past offseason from the Houston Astros. None other than, yes, Ryne Stanek is what we're breaking down in today's video. I want to see your initial reaction in the comments down below to the breaking news that the Mets have officially acquired their new setup man here, especially with Daniel Nunez on the shelf. As we broke down in our video earlier today, I told you guys moves were coming because of the bullpen configuration. The Mets made some key decisions with Adrian Hauser, Shintaro Fujinami, put Nunez on the 15-day IL, in which it's not as bad as what maybe we initially thought, which is a good thing at least. Make sure to check out that video. But hey, we already found out the answer here in Ryne Stanek. So let's break down everything that you guys and gals need to know about the flame-throwing Mets reliever and how he's going to be impacting this Mets bullpen going forward. But I know you're probably wondering, Wardy, who did the Mets give up for Ryne Stanek? They gave up a top 30 prospect, and we saw there in Rylan Thomas, outfield prospect that is deemed in the top 30 to top 40, depending on what prospect rankings you're looking on. Simply put, the Mets quite literally acquired a flame-throwing, high upside right-hander that has a boatload of playoff success, all for a bag of baseballs. That is essentially what happened here, unless Rylan Thomas eventually goes on to be the next coming to Barry Bonds there in Seattle with the Mariners. If so, good luck with Rylan. Wishing him the absolute best in his career. But let's break down, let's get into it, everything that you guys and gals need to know about Ryne Stanek, because this is one of a boatload of relievers that we saw David Stearns go out of his way to try to acquire this past offseason, but guys were coming at a fairly pricey cost, especially on what they were looking for in the market. They were looking for some overpays. The Mets are eating the entire contract of Stanek, which I'm not opposed to whatsoever. Eat that contract every day of the week. And again, you gave up a nothing prospect essentially in return here for a flamethrower who not only has moxie, is going to tell you how it is on the mound. This is a guy that's going to take absolutely no BS, no nonsense whatsoever. If anyone gives him a hard time there from the batter end or the ump himself, he's not going to be afraid to tell you how he feels. He's going to be screaming his head off, and he is going to be looking to do some damage against those opposing batters. And when we take a little bit further of a deep dive on Ryne Stanek and what has he done this year in his one and only year with the Seattle Mariners, mind you, this is after some great success that we have seen him with the Houston Astros. We're going to look at the following, everybody. Take a look at the current baseball savant numbers here. Expected ERA in the 68th percentile. We're in the 80+ percentile in the expected batting average, 97th percentile in fastball velocity. Stanek again sits 97, 98, touches 101 on the gun. No, I was not exaggerating when I said he's a flamethrower. He literally is, as advertised. And because of the flamethrowing aspect that Stanek has, and does also struggle with the walk rate a little bit, he has over a 3 walks per 9 this season, closer to a 4 than a 3, so something that the Mets will need to work with. Similar to Phil Maton to a degree, right? But again, these are both guys, former Houston Astros, who have had great success with them, are now both here in Queens with the Mets that they just landed months later post-offseason, which I'm not opposed to whatsoever. It's always better late than never here. When we look furthermore at Stanek's numbers here, chase percentage, 92nd percentile, whip percentage, 87 percentile, K percentage, 72 percentile. Stanek does get barreled hard because he throws so hard. He unfortunately can hang them over the plate sometimes, and he's going to get barreled big time. Even if, again, he's throwing 100, but if he's throwing it right down the pipe, it's going to be the Jacob deGrom treatment where the guy's going to either swing right through it, or if he does barrel that hard, it is 450 feet out of here. That's just how it's going to be. But for Stanek and for the Mets, they are a match made in heaven. For Stanek, again, continuing to be on a team that's pushing for playoffs similar to the Mariners, but in the case of the Mets here in this big market, I'm excited to see how Stanek performs here, 1, and 2, I'm even more excited to see him paired up against that we see with, yes, Phil Maton. I absolutely love that the Mets are doing this, and oh my goodness gracious, at the time of literally recording this video, everybody, the Mets have officially been connected to, yes, Michael Conforto. They are officially talking to Michael Conforto. That is according to Mike Puma. It says the following: they are open to adding a left-handed bat. On that front, they have spoken to the Giants about a potential Scooter return. So we're going to break that down in a separate video after this one, everybody. I'm going to roll and do that right after we're done here. But let's continue to break down Stanek and his game now, shall we? Because Ryne Stanek, what we have here in him, we got ourselves a flamethrower. We got ourselves a guy with a splitty that's absolutely nasty, that sits 89, 90 miles per hour. A slider that grades really well. Both of them have some beautiful break on them, and he profiles right around in the 114 stuff plus in all of his pitches for his entire arsenal. 14% better than the average relief pitcher, at least in Major League Baseball, so we're not complaining there. And by bringing in Stanek, you get a guy that knows how to perform, again, that we have seen at the playoff level. That's another key thing that stands out a lot about Ryne Stanek that we have seen this season. Stanek, as we know, currently has a 2.7 ERA and 20 postseason innings with the Houston Astros mainly. What did we see with Phil Maton during his time with the Astros before the Mets acquired him from the Rays over the past month or so? Maton with a .83 ERA and playoffs and over 21 innings with the Houston Astros. So the Mets are getting guys that not only are playoff caliber players, but are guys that immediately impact this bullpen and make them better than the day prior. This is the exact kind of high leverage arm I was hoping the Mets would be going for. Should they land a right-hander with Danil Nunez on the shelf, it makes even more sense. And when we take a little bit further of a deep dive look at his numbers here, I have actually his 2023 numbers, because this is going back to when I was talking about him in the offseason. I'll tell you the difference from 2023 to 2024. Speaking of 2023, 2024, look at the date. Yeah, it's July 26th. It's Ryne Stanek's birthday. Happy birthday, Ryne Stanek. He's officially 33 years of age, and on his birthday, he's traded to the New York Mets. That's either a dream or a terrible thing, depending on who you talk to. No less, Stanek in his final year with the Astros, a 4 ERA, a 3.96 expected ERA, a 4.3 SI ERA. The reason why I show you these numbers is because Stanek is actually having a better season this year than what he was even having in 2023 that we saw there with the Houston Astros. Stanek, when we look at the expected numbers, is far more favorable versus what we saw last year. Roughly a full run lower at a 3.44 expected ERA. A higher K per 9 this season, one in 2023 from a 9 K per 9 to in 2024 at 10.15 K per 9. The walk rate is slightly up from last year. It was 3.7 last year. It's 3.9 right now. We don't like guys that walk everyone the mother. We're aware of that. However, in the case of Stanek, he at least is a capable reliever to come out here and hopefully not walk the bases loaded constantly the way that Jake Diekman has famously done, it feels like. So for the Mets here, they get themselves a fantastic pickup of a flamethrowing right-hander that immediately comes in as a true setup option for them over, say, Danil Nunez for the time being while he's on the shelf. Then you figure out what you do once you bring Nunez back in the fold. This is why the Mets made the decision to DFA both Adrian Hauser and Shintaro Fujinami. Be on the lookout, as they are 100% expected to add more relievers from now leading up to the MLB trade deadline. And I also do apologize if my voice is slightly off from the course of the video here. I got a lot of things running at the moment. The Mets are up 7-2 in the bottom of the fourth against the Atlanta Braves, and we're still doing post-game coverage as well, where we're going to talk about more of these moves and all the latest rumors, so make sure you guys are chiming into it all. But Ryne Stanek is a New York Metropolitan. They get a flame-throwing setup man, at least in the interim right now, for quite literally absolutely nothing. If that isn't a David Stearns masterclass of a fleece job, I don't know what is, everybody. Be on the lookout. We will cover everything to an absolute T here on the channel, as we always do. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.